Hey everyone, Stephanie Robilio here, licensed clinical social worker, published author, and the chief clinical officer at Agape Behavioral Healthcare, and you are tuning into the Mindful Living podcast. Hi everyone, and welcome back to the podcast. It has been a moment, but I am here and so grateful to be here today, having the space to show up for you all. Full transparency, I have been so busy and my priorities have been on everything but this podcast. But I do have to say that every time you all send me DMs on Instagram asking when the next podcast is going to drop, it literally gives me so much inspiration and motivation to show up. So thank you. Always reach out and give me that perfect nudge that I need. So I also want to say thank you to all of you who joined me at Unpack Your Bag's first book signing. It was a total success. Absolutely amazing to see so many old friends and meet so many new friends. And of course, my family, my husband, just so grateful for everyone's love and support. Being that we are almost halfway through the year, which is wild. I feel like there's a pattern with me. Oftentimes when I speak, I'm reflecting on how fast time is going by. And I think it's just because that's just the reality of life. Time is zipping by, and for whatever reason, it feels faster than ever. So we're halfway through the year, or just about halfway through the year. And I think that this is usually when people start to realize that they haven't stayed on track with their New Year's resolution goals and intentions. And so I just kind of want to bring this to you all today, that now more than ever, it is so important to drop the excuses and to give yourself permission to get back on track or stay on track. I think that we get so hung up on the fact that, if we haven't been showing up every single day and now a month has gone by, or maybe even 2 months, that means why show up at all? And that's honestly a lie of the mind, right? Every single day is an opportunity to show up, start over, change your perspective. And so today I really want to invite you to get clear and honest with yourself about, are you on track with the things that you said you wanted to do this year? Are you on track with unlocking your full potential? Do you have what it takes to unlock your full potential? I firmly believe whoever's tuned in right now, you 100% have what it takes to unlock your full potential. But only you can be the one to tap into your inner wisdom, your inner potential, and live that life, right? And understanding, when I say live that life, all that means is live each day to the fullest. Show up as your best self every single day. That doesn't mean you have to be scoring 100%, right? I'm a big believer that sometimes our 100% really looks like 40%. Sometimes it looks like 70%. Sometimes it looks like 30%. Man, some days it might feel like it's only 15%. And then other days we might feel like we're completely smashing it and it's just like we're cruising at 100 all day. And it doesn't really matter. What matters is that if you know in your heart that you showed up and you gave that day your all, that's all that matters. That's all that matters. And you do that for you, not for your family, not for your friends, not for your coworkers, not for your mentor, not for your social media following. Like, you do that for you so that at the end of the day, you can lay your head down at night knowing that regardless of what was going on in your life or during that point in time, you showed up, right? So let's talk about what does potential actually mean? Well, I think potential can be defined in many ways. And in some regard, I think it's actually a pretty personal experience, right? What I see as potential, you might see as different. So I'm just going to share the way I see it. And if it resonates, that's amazing. And as always, I open my email or my DM for you guys to just shoot me a message and let's connect, let's chat, and let's hear what potential means to you, because I think it's really important to get clear about what it means to you. So really, it's not just about what you're capable of right now. It's, in my opinion, it's about what you're capable of becoming. So a lot of times we can only do so much based on where we are and what we have and the resources we have access to, right? But I think it's really about how can you tune inward to self, right? And begin to dream and visualize who and what you can become, right? Who and what you can become. It's not that, today your life looks one way. Yes, well, that's just for today. But potential is really about that path forward and getting there, understanding you get there again by how you show up each day. And it's really limitless. There's no limit when it comes to a person's potential. It's all about how can you tap in to the most highest version of you to set yourself up for a very successful today and tomorrow. And I think that we really get there by our mindset. We know that our mindset 100% influences the way we feel. And we also know the way we feel 100% influences our actions, right? And so the big question, how do we unlock our potential, right? I think this is a question that I know I've certainly have asked myself, and over the last, well, really more than a decade now, I've spent time exploring what does it really mean to unlock your potential or get in touch with your intuition or your wisdom. And for me, I really think that it starts with self-awareness. You must become self-aware. So what does that mean? Self-awareness means paying attention to yourself every single moment of every single day. It's questioning your thoughts. It's questioning your beliefs. It's questioning your perspectives. It's being really curious about the way you feel. It's also being curious about the current mindset you have, right? It's giving yourself that space to dream and to see things beyond the reality of what is now. And it's important to take time as you cultivate a mindset of self-awareness. It's important to take time to really understand or explore or identify what your strengths are, your weaknesses, what are you really passionate about, right? I always say, what's that one thing or the things that just light you up, that bring you so much joy? Like whatever that is, to me, that is your higher self saying, hello, here's a little secret. If you keep doing this thing, you're going to continue to be on the path of unlimitless potential, right? Because we're meant to feel joy. We're meant to do the things that we love. We're meant to do the things that we're passionate about. We are not meant to suffer every day. We are not meant to live in stress. For some wild reason, it has become so normal to live in a state of stress and suffering. And those who are living in a state of joy, those people they're perceived as odd. Something's wrong with them. And I'm here to tell you, we have it real backwards. We have it really backwards. The people who are still living in a state of stress and suffering, no, that's odd. That's odd, right? Because we can do something about it. I'm not here to say that there's not going to be things that cause us suffering or there's things that cause us stress. Are you kidding me? I feel stress probably, I can't even tell you, a handful of times every single week. But I think it's about, if you have self-awareness and you notice you're feeling stress, then you can do something about it before the stress consumes you, right? That is what it means to have power over your mind, to have mastery over self, as opposed to the person who's going through life on autopilot and they have normalized stress because they're on autopilot. They're not even aware that they're stressed. They just think it's normal. Well, it's not normal, right? And the person who's living in a state of joy and in alignment with their passions, that person is absolutely living a self-aware life, right? Because that means they are choosing to do the things that make them feel good. And that's truly my wish for all of you, is that you give yourself permission to choose the things that make you feel really good. So self-awareness, right? That is absolutely key. And then I think that once you're clear on your strengths and your weaknesses and even your values, then this self-reflection is what lays the foundation for personal growth, right? We know that if we have a strong foundation of who we are and what's important to us, that is what allows us to build up. I share with the clients I have an opportunity to work with at Agape all the time that the foundation is so important, because think about it. If you have a really strong foundation, you can build up over and over. And if the walls collapse, it's okay, because the foundation is still solid and you can build again, right? And I think that that's part of our journey, is that we're going to have to build and then things collapse. And that's part of this journey of self-discovery and reinventing ourselves. It's not like we build the foundation, we build the walls up, we put the roof on, and we're like, hey, this is the house that I'm living in forever. Like, this is it, right? Like, I'm just going to chill here. Like, no, like things serve a purpose, a season. And yes, in some cases, certain things serve us for a lifetime, but I think it's more about the concept of having a strong foundation built upon your self-awareness, your connection to yourself, a connection to a higher power, living true to who you are, living in alignment with your values, not being afraid to speak your truth, having boundaries, right? Like all that stuff that makes a really solid foundation. When that part of your life is solid, then you have no fear because you know that the walls can collapse and you can build again. And I think that that is what really allows us to grow into not only the best version of us, but it's what really gives us our strength and our confidence. And so laying that foundation, right? We know that when we have that strong foundation and it supports our personal growth, that is what guides us towards opportunities that align with who we are. Again, when we're not living true to who we are, it's very, very hard, if not impossible, to attract what's meant for us, right? We can't unlock our true potential if we're not living true to who we are, because we're going to end up attracting people, places, and things that aren't meant for us. And that's a whole other podcast we could talk about, right? Where that takes us. I think that, just to say something quick on that, if we're not living true to who we are, a full, honest life, then inevitably we will perpetuate the cycles of anxiety, of fear, of depression, of other mood responses, as well as addiction and alcoholism. We will fuel resentments. We will stay in the energy of feeling betrayed, like all that stuff that, if we're honest with each other, none of us like the way it feels. Most of us have experienced it in one way or the other. But usually when we're stuck in those cycles, it's because we aren't taking ownership of our life. Taking ownership of your life is what sets you free, right? As long as we stay in a position of blaming external factors for how we feel and where we are in life, you might as well handcuff yourself, because you're not going to be able to go very far. You will stay in a powerless position. And I believe strongly we are the most powerful beings. We are not powerless at all. However, if we aren't self-aware, it's very, very easy to live with a powerless mindset. And on the other hand, when you are self-aware, it's very, very easy and actually quite fun and exciting to live with a powerful mindset, to know that you and only you get to determine the direction of your day, which essentially determines the direction of your life, right? So self-awareness, I think, is step one to how do we unlock our potential. Two, I think it's really important to make sure that we're not living in that victim mindset. What I just talked about kind of would indicate a victim mindset, right? If we're blaming people, places, and things, and we're living powerless, then that would indicate that there's some part of us that's still playing a victim. So it's important to get into a growth mindset, right? A growth mindset or an empowered mindset, which I talk about in Unpack Your Bags. I talk about how to go from a victim mindset to an empowered mindset. Really, this is about understanding your abilities and your intelligence and using them to develop a commitment to your life's journey, right? Using that as a commitment to your life's journey. Because I'm telling you, I'm sure you guys agree with this. Just as I said at the start of this podcast, we're already halfway through the year. If we were together right now and all of you were in front of me and I asked you how many people set an intention earlier this year, or set a resolution or some goal, or made some commitment or promise to themselves, and you've fallen off track, I know I would raise my hand. There's definitely commitments I made to myself this year, and I haven't followed through with all of them, right? But again, it's okay to fall off track. We're humans. We're going to fall off track. What matters is that we have the courage and the willingness to get back on track and not allow ourselves to just get in that funk and get a case of the you-know-whats and just let time continue to pass us by, because time is the only thing that we can never get back. We know once it passes, it passes. And it's quite sad to be that person who wakes up and realizes most of your life has passed you by and you have never followed through with taking care of you, because you were either the person who gave up easily, you didn't believe in your resilience, you didn't believe in yourself, you didn't believe in the fact that you have self-worth, or you put other things before you, right? And I'm sorry, I think that, actually, I'm not sorry. I don't know why I said that. That was something automatic that came out. I think that we must be selfish. This idea that being selfish is a bad thing, I don't know who told us that. To be selfish, all that means is you're making yourself number one. That doesn't mean go through life only caring about yourself, right? I think that would fall more into the ego side of things, which is just like, I'm, number one and no one else matters and it's my way or the highway. Like, no, I'm not here promoting that attitude. What I am promoting is that you should always put yourself number one on the things to do list. Your mental health should be number one. Your recovery should be number one. Your priorities, the things that are important to you, should always, always be number one. Your wellness and your overall well-being, right? Your happiness, your health, that should always be number one. And if people are going to call that selfish, then please welcome that, embrace that, because the truth is, you can look at that mindset as a selfish mindset, or you can look at that mindset as a mindset who has self-love at the very top, right? At the forefront, a core value. And I think that as long as we continue to live in this place of feeling bad for having needs, or feeling bad for having dreams, or feeling like we have to play small, or staying in a state of victimhood, like it's too bad for that person, because life is going to pass by. And you know what? There's a lot of studies done on people who are in hospice, and they ask them questions like, what are the things you regret? And some of the top things that people say is, one, they regret working too hard, meaning they worked, and never ever made space to do the things that they enjoyed, such as being with family more often, traveling, or whatever it is, right? So nothing wrong with working hard. I'm an extremely hard worker, but I think it's very important to remember that this is your life, and it's so important that you carve out space to do the things that are going to bring you joy. People also say they regret not having children, and they regret not taking chances. And so I think that, the not taking chances, that's a big thing, right? It's so easy just to get comfortable, but again, I can't highlight enough that you all deserve to live a life beyond your wildest dreams, and it really starts with you. I also think it's important, to pay attention who you're hanging out with, right? Surrounding yourself with positivity. The people you spend time with absolutely influence your thoughts, your beliefs, your actions, your perspectives. And we know that if those things are influenced, then that means those people have the ability to influence the outcomes of your life. Now, it doesn't mean it's their fault if you're experiencing negative outcomes. But what this means is that, like they say, if you're hanging around 5 smart people, you'll be the 6th one. If you're hanging around 5 people who are thriving in their recovery, you'll be the 6th one. If you're hanging around 5 people who are financially just making it, you'll be the 6th one. If you're hanging around 5 people who are just knocking those goals, just hitting it out of the park, you'll be the 6th one hitting it out of the park. And on the contrary, right? If you're hanging around 5 people who are not taking their recovery serious, you'll be the 6th one. And you get the point, right? So paying attention to who you're hanging around with, and purposely surrounding yourself with people who are going to uplift you and inspire you, people who have your back, and not only have your back, but the people who hold you accountable, right? The people who challenge you. We don't want to be around people who let us get away with nonsense, right? We want to be around the doers and the dreamers, the people who really believe in us and also believe in themselves, and they're not afraid to say, hey, I can see that, you're not in alignment with what it is you said you wanted to do, or hey, you're falling off track. The people are really going to lift you up when you need it. And I think that, the people who believe in your potential, that's because they believe in their potential. Just like when we believe in someone's potential, that's because we believe in our own potential. And so again, we're always mirroring each other, and people absolutely influence us just like we influence others. And a couple more points I want to make. I think, okay, so how do we unlock potential? We talked about it, right? Self-awareness, going from a victim mindset to an empowered mindset or a growth mindset, and then really surrounding yourself with positivity. And I think setting yourself up by setting either intentions every day or meaningful goals, right? So identify, what is it that you want to achieve? How do you want to feel? And then set small tasks or steps to get there, right? It's all about action. We can sit here and dream about our life, but if we don't do something to achieve the things that we want or desire, we're never going to get there. Dreaming is not enough. It's wonderful. It makes you feel good, but you have to have action, right? It's the ones who dream and do that experience the life that they desire. And so come up with some intentions or meaningful goals, and then just remember that you are resilient. You are so resilient. Life is always going to have challenges. Most of us have already overcome some of the hardest days of our life. But remember, regardless of the challenges and obstacles, it's not really about that. What gives us our resiliency is how we respond, right? It's how we respond to life's challenges. That's what builds us up. That's what gives us character, right? We're not defined by what we do or what happens to us or around us. What really shapes us is our capacity to respond no matter how hard life gets. And I'm here to tell you, life gets hard. Life gets really hard. I can't tell you how many moments have been so hard in my life, and I'm sure the same is true for you. But there's something so special that happens when you are true to you and you stand firm in who you are, and you never, ever, ever stop believing that you are so worthy and so resilient, right? You're so worthy and so resilient. And the worthiness is the most important part. So don't forget that. And instead of staying, when challenges happen, I think it's so easy for us to see it as a setback, or even in some extreme cases, our mind might tell us it's a failure. It's all perception, right? But I think that if we have the ability to see something as a setback, then that means we have the ability to see something as a solution, right? Or a step forward. It's all about the way we choose to see something. So instead of dwelling on perceived setbacks, focus on solutions, right? Find the solution. And I always say this, but if you can't find a solution, that means there is no problem. There is no problem. And then another really, really key thing is self-care. I think this is so important. Somehow we let our routines and responsibilities take over and we forget to practice self-care. And our mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual well-being are crucial when it comes to unlocking our full potential, right? We have to feel good in mind, body, and spirit in order to tap into our potential and really unlock it. Because if we're feeling tired and exhausted and defeated and stressed, and we feel like we're just constantly suffering every day, we're never going to be able to unlock our true potential, right? If anything, that's going to create a very chaotic, exhausting energy, and we're not going to get very far. We'll likely just stay in that hamster wheel of life on autopilot. So self-care. Every person has 5-10 minutes a day. It doesn't have to be 30 minutes or an hour. It can be 5 minutes to stretch, take 3 deep breaths, take a 10-minute bath, read for 5 minutes, go on a 10-minute walk, do jumping jacks, listen to 2-3 of your favorite songs, journal, say your affirmations. I mean, there's a million things that you can do to support your mind, body, and spirit. So again, remember, it's not about how long you practice self-care. It's more important that you develop the habit of showing up for yourself, even if it's just for 5 or 10 minutes a day. So I hope that you all found this to be helpful and inspiring. And I hope that there's at least one thing that you can take away and begin applying. And as silly as it sounds, just remember, our life is truly about the journey, right? It's just about the process of becoming who we're meant to be. And right when we get where we think we want to be, there's always going to be somewhere else to go. So it's not so important to focus on that destination. It's more important to focus on every single day, appreciate it to the fullest, enjoy it, right? Enjoy it, have fun, and never ever give up on you. I love you all so much. Until the next time, big hugs. Thank you so much for being here with me today. If you found today's episode to be insightful and inspiring, drop me a review so together we can help the next person, and come connect with me on social at Stephanie Robilio, and find all of my books on Amazon. Until the next episode, stay mindful and always remember the power that lives inside of you.